Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we are here with pre-season testing for My Team Season 4 of our F1 22 career mode. Yes, this is where we look through all the driver news, transfers and the big stories as we head into the new season. Of course, Bahrain will be returning tomorrow and immediately we jump in with reigning Constructors World Champions Red Bull. And yes, as you can quite clearly see, Max Verstappen has left the team. Yes, despite finally giving him a car that can fight for the Constructors' Championship, both he and Sergio Perez were very consistent throughout a lot of last season's campaign. Verstappen's so frustrated with engine failures and just lack of performance right until the very end, has left Red Bull and gone on a sabbatical. Of course, that means with Lewis Hamilton retiring from Formula 1 as well, we've lost two very big names and two very notorious Formula 1 World Champions as well there. So no Max Verstappen, no Lewis Hamilton, but of course the Dutchman, there is a very big opportunity that he will return in the future of this career mode. Of course, Hamilton has completely retired, but yeah, Verstappen has just decided to take a season or so out. So he has been replaced actually by our former teammate, Théo Pourchaire. Yes, Red Bull are very happy with Théo's performance. Of course, Monaco Grand Prix winner last season. Obviously, we unfortunately dropped him for Lewis Hamilton at the halfway stage of the campaign, but Théo Pourchaire's come back in a big way with one of our biggest rivals. And yeah, he will be alongside Sergio Perez, who has now become sort of the main man down at the Red Bull team there. Of course, Sergio's been there since 2021. Of course, has delivered some good results, some good race victories here and there as well, and has just been a consistent driver in the team. But now it's time for him to step up and hopefully try and mean that Red Bull could defend their Constructors' World Championship. Of course, third in Season 1, fourth in Season 2. It wasn't looking great for Red Bull, but they turned it around in Season 3 to just about clutch up. They weren't particularly dominant throughout Season 3, but they were very consistent and the only team with two drivers that were consistently fighting for race victories and podiums throughout pretty much the entirety of the season there. And of course, just clutched up that Constructors' Championship over, yes, ourselves, down at 212 Motorsport. And you can see, of course, a new name in the team. Of course, we had Lewis Hamilton alongside us throughout the second half of last season, and he's been replaced, of course, heading into retirement by his former teammate George Russell. Yes, we're just apparently poaching our former Mercedes drivers at the moment there. Of course, heartbreaking disappointment at the end of last season, of course, to miss out on the Constructors' Championship by just a handful of points after Hamilton's mechanical failure with one lap to go. But George Russell, you know, is another young feisty Brit. You guys voted for him in the Season 4 driver vote poll, and a massive thank you to all of you that did partake in that. So yeah, George Russell will be alongside us throughout the entirety of Season 4. And of course, a new livery as well on the car, kind of harking back to the old school McLaren Vodafone car. I also thought, you know, because we finished runner-up last season, that maybe a silver theme could be quite a cool idea as well there. You know, maybe if we win it this time round, we'll go with gold ready for Season 5. But of course, yeah, after just missing out narrowly, winter testing looks quite good. It feels like we've adjusted the car quite nicely. We have theoretically come into the new year season with a similar advantage to how we left the end of Season 3. So, you know, obviously we went through a dominant run over those last 4 Grand Prix weekends. Of course, Hamilton and I just comfortably clear of the rest of the field throughout most of those Grand Prix weekends. Sadly, it wasn't enough to close up the gap to the Red Bulls and Valtteri Bottas in the championship. But it is what it is. You know, we've got to come back stronger. We've got to rebuild, refocus, and regroup ready for Season 4. And I feel like George Russell is going to be a worthy teammate as well. Of course, you know, very quick down at Mercedes, but they've just been falling apart over the last couple of years. Lack of funding, lack of budget, and lack of direction, it really has seemed like, from the Brackley-based organisation. And George Russell felt it was time to move somewhere else, to a team on the up, rather than a team constantly seeming in decline. We move over to two-time Formula 1 World Champion Valtteri Bottas' team. He, of course, has stayed at McLaren once again. A very unlikely, but a very successful partnership there between the Flying Finn and the McLaren team. He's joined once again by Zhou Guanyu. Had a bit of a quiet Season 3. Didn't quite deliver what we were expecting, obviously, alongside Valtteri Bottas. But, of course, a former Alfa Romeo lineup as well with these two. 5th place in Season 1 of this series. First place, of course, wrapped up the Constructors in Season 2, and then Season 3, an unlucky 3rd place, less than 20 points away from the championship. You know, Abu Dhabi at the end of last season was just absolutely insane. You know, any of those 3 teams could have walked away with the Constructors' Championship, so 3rd place might look particularly great on paper, but they certainly weren't far away either. Of course, Bottas has very firmly established himself as the number 1 within that team, and you know, he'll be looking to try and make it 3 World Championships in a row, joining a very, very exclusive club of Formula 1 triple World Champions as well, but he's going to have his work cut out. McLaren haven't seemed to have adjusted to the new regs as well as some of the other teams, so they are going to be a bit careful as we head into Season 4 of this career mode. But, you know, we've seen them rebuild before, we've seen them come on very, very strong in the second half of previous championship campaigns as well. You know, McLaren apparently now are a team you can never count out in the My Team career mode as well. Moving on down, though, to Ferrari then. Of course, what a story it's been from the Maranello-based squad. Of course, that dominant first season seems like a very, very long time ago, but they've kept their lineup of Charles Leclerc and Daniel Ricciardo there, and you can see, yeah, it's not been a particularly pretty story so far. Of course, dominant first season, missed out in Season 2. They came on quite strong towards the end of the year. They came into Season 3 looking very, very racy as well, but yeah, Ferrari just have not kept the development. You know, 2-2 Motorsport, McLaren and Red Bull already did seem to get the better of them by the end of Season 3 there, and Ferrari are down in 4th place overall, a comfortable 4th place. They haven't fallen off in a similar style to what we've seen from Mercedes, but still not what they would have wanted in this series nonetheless. You know, Ferrari are looking for this to sort of be their reshuffle, their big shake-up, of course, as we head into Season 4. Potentially some new management down at Ferrari as well, of course, with Mattia Binotto leaving the team in recent weeks. But, you know, it's a big question of whether they're going to be able to deliver in the future as well. And, of course, yeah, they sadly won't be rocking the yellow, obviously, tinted livery ready for Season 4 of this career mode, but, you know, a pre-season winter testing livery is always quite cool to see nonetheless. And yeah, Ferrari just harking back to their heritage once more. Of course, Charles Leclerc still leading that team as the number 1 driver. Daniel Ricciardo, they're doing a fine enough job, it seems like, at the moment. I was pleasantly surprised to see he was staying at Maranello for 1 extra year, but yeah, he's really going to have to try and deliver, prove to Charles Leclerc what he's like as well, and hopefully we can see Ferrari fighting back at the front again, because it's been a bit too long, and it's only been a couple of seasons. Moving on, though, down to Mercedes, of course, our 5th team, in the Constructors' Championship last season, after 2 runners-up seasons in the championships prior. What a state Mercedes are in at the moment. Obviously, we've snookered away George Russell from them over the winter break, and despite every fibre of my being believing they'd have a completely new team ready for Season 4, apparently not. Nicholas Latifi has somehow stayed, but he has been partnered by Pierre Gasly, which is certainly going to be an interesting combo as we head into the new year. Of course, both drivers have previously raced for Williams before in the My Team series, and Pierre Gasly, you know, is certainly not a driver that you can count out. Of course, very, very strong races up against Alex Albon in the past, so I think, you know, he's comfortably going to get the better of Nicholas Latifi as we head into Season 4. Of course, Latifi is pretty much there for funding reasons, is the only thing I can guess. Perhaps, you know, the board back at Mercedes have really tried to scale back their operations in Formula 1. But Toto Wolff does not want to give up on this team just yet. You know, they still want to be battling for championships. But yeah, if pre-season testing's anything to go by, they seem to have made a step forward heading into Season 4, but certainly haven't made massive progress either. So it will be interesting to see what Mercedes can do as we head into the new year. Gasly and Latifi, though, was an interesting lineup. I feel like we all know Pierre is going to be the number 1. Moving on, though, to 6th place overall, and that is going to be Alpine. And once again, another team that has decided not to shake up their roster as we head into Season 4. Lando Norris and Esteban Ocon is a very, very underrated lineup, to be honest. But sadly, yeah, their story, it just seems to be slipping backwards ever so slightly. 4th place in Season 1, 5th place in Season 2, 6th place in Season 3. However, based on pre-season testing, I don't think 7th place in Season 4 is going to be the case. Alpine look very, very fast as we head into the new year. Of course, we can only base it on pre-season testing and the predicted performance chart as well, but Alpine are looking like they are now serious frontrunners in the world of Formula 1. Of course, lost 2-2 Motorsport as an engine, obviously giving the team engines ready for the new year. Of course, as you probably would have heard, 2-2 Motorsport now have shifted over to Mercedes power units. So Alpine are once again only supplying themselves, but they have certainly been able to learn a lot from being able to build more engines over the last couple of years. And they, yeah, like I said, certainly on paper at the very least, seem to be championship threats. Lando Norris, of course, a fantastic driver, known for being able to get absolutely everything out of any car he's given. Esteban Ocon has been at Alpine for so many years now. Of course, he's a constant within that team, but I'm sure will be trying to showcase himself as a potential leader within that organisation. But yeah, Alpine, if I was going to pick any team, I think they're going to be the ones to watch as we head into Season 4 of this series. Speaking of a team that's only seemed to have gone backwards in the past, we'll swap it over. And we'll have a look down at Williams then as we head into Season 4 of this series. 11th place in Season 1. Felt like they made a bit of progress. You know, they took a step forward in Season 2, finishing P9. The start of Season 3 was absolutely fantastic there. A couple of very good point hauls from Alex Albon and Pierre Gasly. But sadly, yeah, only P7 by the end of the championship. Winter testing seems a little bit shaky for Williams. They've often been a team that can kind of adjust to new regs quite well and then really just fall backwards rather quickly, but doesn't seem like they've adjusted, I think, in the way they would have wanted as we head into the new year. Of course, Gasly off to Mercedes means that Williams have actually picked up Mick Schumacher in a bit of a surprising move there. Of course, has had a couple of decent years around a couple of the other teams in the sport, but Alex Albon and Mick Schumacher, certainly an interesting lineup as we head into the new campaign as well, of course. Like I said, not quite expecting a big point straight off the bat, but, you know, if Williams can try and get a few points finishes once more, maybe it's just a question of trying to solidify that P7 in the championship. Of course, they're trying to nurture two quite young, but I think both talents that have still got quite a high skill ceiling in the world of Formula 1 as well. Of course, Alex Albon has been with the team now since the start of the My Team career mode. Mick Schumacher as a new teammate. Again, I'm sure Albon will be trying to cement himself as the #1 within that organisation. But yeah, I feel like Williams, it's going to be interesting to see how they cope throughout Season 4. Moving on down, though, to Alpha Tauri, and again, another driver lineup that has remained unchanged, ready for the 4th season of this career mode. Yuki Tsunoda seems to just like to spend time at Alpha Tauri, you know, credits to him if it's a place he's happy. I suppose he's getting good enough results for them. Oscar Piastri, though, of course, our former teammate in this career mode, staying with the Red Bull Junior team once more. You know, there was part of me that was surprised that neither of them got the call up to jump into that Red Bull car, but I mean, Théo Pourchaire delivered a lot more than Piastri did in our team, and you know, Yuki Tsunoda, it just doesn't feel like he's quite ready to make that big step up into a big Formula 1 team as well. So I'm sure, yeah, Piastri and Tsunoda, this could be quite a big year for them. You know, if Pourchaire doesn't deliver what's expected of him over at Red Bull, you know, maybe one of these two could be getting the call up in the near future, of course. Australia's finest as well as Japanese finest as well, of course. You know, AlphaTauri, they seem to have delivered a fairly decent car again. You know, I've always said it, they're kind of a bit of a weird team in Formula 1 because they're not really designed to battle for world championships as well there. But if they can try and deliver a good result, you know, P6, P5, I think would be sort of sensibly quite a decent result for them. Of course, 10th place in Season 1 of this career mode, jumped all the way up to 7th for Season 2, and then back down in 8th for Season 3. It was, you know, a very quiet year of just solidifying themselves ahead of the backmarkers, but not really making much more progress than that. Heading on now down to Haas, of course, another team that have made some interesting progress before in the My Team career mode. They are a team, that are bringing in another Formula 2 driver, this time in the name of Jehan Daruvala. So certainly an interesting one, of course, India's 3rd ever Formula 1 driver, if I'm not mistaken, and he's going to be joined by Felipe Drugovich once more there, of course, with Mick Schumacher heading off over to Williams for Season 4 of this career mode there. Jehan Daruvala, I think, is quite, you know, an interesting young talent. I'm intrigued to see how he's going to get on over the course of the season. I think a lot of comparisons are going to be drawn between Haas and, of course, Sauber even, I should say. Sauber Alfa Romeo, of course, with Dan Ticktum and Robert Schwartzman in their car, both last season, and I'll say it now, they're both remaining down at Alfa Romeo as well there. So two teams towards the back of the order that are really sort of trying to foster young talent, you know, maybe trying to supply some of the other teams, you know, further up the order, and, you know, really for them, just about trying to take a bit of a gamble as well, of course. Haas came into the My Team career mode up in P6, dropped back down to P10 for Season 2, and then we're a little way ahead of Aston Martin and Alfa Romeo in Season 3, a handful of points, but yes, certainly were never really consistent top 10 challengers and things like that, of course, as we head into Season 4. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how Jehan Daruvala gets on. Felipe Drugovich now, of course, has got to try and be the #1 within that organisation, but certainly exciting times ahead. Moving on, though, down to our penultimate team, though, and that, of course, is Aston Martin. Kevin Magnussen was the shock move last year, heading off down to the British-based organisation, and to be honest, never really kind of delivered for anyone. Lack of funding, lack of the right direction with the car. Aston Martin just have not seemed to ever make the progress up the order that we were really expecting from them in this career mode. And they only clutched up P10 in the final weekend of the year on count back there in Abu Dhabi. Alfa Romeo had held on to that P10 slot for quite a lot of the championship, but yeah, it was just in Abu Dhabi. Kevin Magnussen, a fantastic result there, meant that despite no points still, he did guarantee Aston Martin just a little bit more prize money that, you know, might make a big difference come the end of the day. Aston Martin, you know, whether it's Lawrence Stroll's management at the top, whether it's just lack of big investment further down the, you know, sort of down the food chain, it's a bit weird for them. They just don't seem to be stepping forward in the way any of us are expecting in this career mode. You know, maybe Season 4 is going to be quite a big reset for them. On paper, it doesn't look like a particularly big change coming from the team, but you never know what might happen. We can always dream and believe that maybe, just maybe, Aston Martin are going to be able to try and deliver a bit more. Moving on, though, down to our final time, and like I previously mentioned, of course, Alfa Romeo have kept their driver lineup of Dan Ticktum and Robert Schwartzman as we head into Season 4 of this career mode. They're 7th place in Season 1, followed by 2 last place finishes in Season 2 and Season 3. The only way is up for Alfa Romeo at the moment, and we'll wait and see whether they can try and make progress as we head into Season 4 of the career mode. It's been a tough old time for the organisation, just never really seemed to get the last regulations up and running very well there. And of course, yeah, fostering 2 very, very young talents as well in Dan Ticktum and Schwartzman. Of course, you know, they've had some pretty quiet campaigns up until now, but I'm intrigued to see, you know, maybe if those 2 get a car that can fight for at least, you know, sort of, if it can be close to the points heading into Season 4, that might be quite nice for the entire organisation as well. But yeah, nothing really too much to add from Alfa Romeo. It seems like they might not be as far away as we head into the new year, but I certainly don't think we're going to see a major upset from the Swiss outfit as well. So, having a look then at the calendar as well then for Season 4, we have now got a bit of a custom calendar as we head into Season 4 of this career mode. Shanghai and Portimao will both be returning to the world of Formula 1. That means Brazil will now be our championship finale, of course. Abu Dhabi has been dropped just for 1 season as they look to try and make more upgrades to the venue, and of course it also means we're going to finish the year with a sprint race there. And Le Castellet, the other track that has sadly been dropped from our Season 4 calendar. What I'm probably going to do is just shuffle it around between different circuits and venues. You know, obviously we can't quite make a full custom calendar just yet. You know, we haven't got a lot of other extra tracks as well to try and jump in with, but there we go then. Let me know which teams you're excited for as we head into Season 4 of the My Team career mode. A massive thank you to everyone that has watched pre-season testing. Bahrain even, I should say, will return tomorrow afternoon, so definitely want to get yourself subscribed for that. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow ready with My Team Season 4. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.